Okay, lecture recording has started. Today, we're going to talk about the power of your mindset, the power of mental health. Structure, depending on how time goes, right? We're going to go through first the power of mindset and mental health, about respecting yourself, about taking personal responsibility. Then we're going to talk about faking it till you make it. That's part one. Part two of that is confidence is competence. Confidence is competence. Then we'll talk about limiting beliefs, my own personal bullying story. And then if we have time, we'll talk about the 5 stages of grief and self-improvement. We'll talk about the end game. And then we'll invite people up for Q&A. Does it sound good? Okay, let's begin. First, the power of mindset. Now, we're all here in Hamza's server. We know all about, well, not all about, but he preaches the importance of mental health. I'm going to call that mindset. Because even though at the end of the day, most of us are fixated or we care about the end goal, we care about the results. The approach towards that, I believe, should not be looking at the results. There's this study, all right, I might be talking out of my ass here, but there's this study where they take a group of kids, put them into 2 camps. They get them to do a simple test. Because it's simple, most kids do well. For the first group, they praise them on, wow, you must be so smart. You got this so good. You're so smart. Good job. And the other group, they said, wow, you must have tried really hard. You must have put in a lot of work. Now, these are kids, of course, and this is just me extrapolating from the conclusion of a study. But that second group, when they were presented with challenges, tougher questions, tougher quizzes, tougher tests, they continued to try. Whereas the first group, because they had attached their identity to, oh my God, if I fail this, I'm not smart anymore. They don't allow themselves to fail. They don't even try. And then when asked, hey, how'd you go? What were your results? A significant proportion of the first group, the group that was told, you're so smart, they lied about their results because they have grown attached to it. Their mentality, their mindset was, I am smart. But then something comes along and challenges that belief and they suddenly don't feel so sure about themselves anymore. Remember, we were talking about, in the beginning, I laid this out to say, the importance of your mindset, about respecting yourself enough to take action. Let me... Sorry, boys, I'm still recovering from a sickness, so coughing a little bit. Excuse me. A lot of people here, right? I've only been on this server for a month and a half, 2 months maybe. And I can 100% confidently say I have helped a lot of you. A lot of the times it's you guys reaching out to me one-on-one. Sometimes it's just in a voice chat. Sometimes it's me typing something out. But I've helped a lot of you. And so a lot of you, for one reason or another, look up to me and think, oh, this spear guy, he seems to know what he's talking about. How do I become more like him? You start by giving yourself permission. Giving yourself permission to suck. Giving yourself permission to fail. Giving yourself permission to love yourself. That sounded really wishy-washy, didn't it? What do you mean, give yourself permission to suck? What do you mean give yourself permission to fail? What do you mean give yourself permission to love yourself? All of this relates to respecting yourself. Because the end goal, when we talk about this, the end goal is to be in a position where people look up to you, right? A lot of us have this fantasy, right? I know this crowd tends to lean on the younger side. So in your teenage years, a lot of you dream of the time where people look up to you and attach to your every single word and think, oh, gee, I want to be like him. I'm in that position right now because I allowed myself to grow. Taking personal responsibility. I used to think that everything happens for a reason, right? That's such a cop-out quote. Everything happens for a reason. Oh, don't worry about it. All right, so when people say this religiously, they say, oh, this is all God's plan. God intended this for you. But you know, the problem with that kind of thinking, the problem with that mindset is it has an external, I'm going to butcher this, I forget which one it is, but basically you're giving up control. You don't believe that you deserve to be in control. You think that things happen to you. You think that it's all fate, it's all destiny, or anything like that. Instead, I look at it as everything is my fault. Everything is my responsibility. I'll say that again. Everything is my fault. Everything is my responsibility. If I get a good score in an exam, that was my responsibility. It was because of my hard work. If I get a terrible result, it again is my fault because I did not put in the work. It's like Hamza says, put in the work. Do the hard work. Messed that up already. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. When it comes to results, in general, you can view it as, oh, okay, yeah, you know, things happen to me. Yeah, whatever, I tried my best. Or you can view it as, those results are a direct result of what I did and what I did not do. Now, some of you are asking, is it always your responsibility? What about things that are truly outside of your control? Here we apply some critical thinking. Is it really outside of your control? If the answer is yes, then don't worry about it. It truly is outside of your control. If suddenly there's an earthquake, well, yeah, you know, I can't change the earth. I'm not God. I can't prevent the earthquake. Then that is not within my control. I can't take personal responsibility for that. But for anything else, even the gray area, I would choose to view it as this is within my control. Even if it is a gray area, even if it's wishy-washy, it will be my fault, my responsibility. For example, if I set up a date with a girl and she flakes, that's my fault, my responsibility that she flaked. Why? A lot of you think, oh, hold on. No, the girl's just being a bitch. She flaked on you. Why is that your fault? It's because you did not present yourself in your best light. It's because you did not convey yourself to be high value enough to be worth her time. Always related back to you and how you can change, how you can make yourself better. Don't focus on how other people could have done their parts better. That's the victim mindset. Don't take the victim mindset. Take the leadership mindset. Everything is within your control, even when in reality it's not. When you become a leader, or when you take any sort of leadership role, you will have responsibilities that don't necessarily directly relate to you. For example, right? In a corporate world where I work, my manager is responsible for me, even though he does not have direct control over what I do. For example, if I decide to be a dickhead and just trash everything and delete all the files and just break everything, yeah, they're going to come after me. But they're also going to, in some way, relate it back to my manager and my manager's manager, because this stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum. Take control. Believe that you are able to take control. And once you see the world that way, my God, so many doors open for you. Things that were previously outside of your control, things that previously you thought you could not do because you were too scared or because whatever excuse you have. Suddenly, this makes sense. Suddenly, you can do it. That's the power of your mindset. That's the power of having a strong mental health. That's the core of my belief system. It's why I'm able to say the things I say, do the things I do, and preach the things that I preach. And yes, this is recorded for all of you asking. This is recorded. To relate it back to a more tangible thing, a more relatable note. Mental health, burnout. A lot of you are too caught in your head. I'm sure a lot of you have already experienced this, whether you're teenage or old. I'm 27. That seems to be quite old to most of you. Mental health and burnout. Sometimes when you feel sick, sometimes when you feel stressed, you don't feel like doing anything. You look for ways to procrastinate, even though you end up kicking yourself the next day for procrastinating. Because you felt burnt out. It's because you did not take care of your mental health. Well, we can spend a long time talking about this, but I do have a lot of things to go through. So let's move on to the next step, or the next section. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. It's in the name. Fake. A lot of people hear this and go, "Oh, yeah, but you know, it's fake. It's not me. It's fake. So fake. I don't want to be that. I want to be Adonis. I want to be strong. I want to be real. I don't want to be fake." Guess what? You're not going to jump from Jeffrey to Adonis overnight. You don't make these transitions overnight. You don't change things overnight. An overnight success, like Hamza said, is multiple years in the making. You don't just suddenly one day go, "Oh, look at me. I've made it. I don't need to fake it anymore." Except actually, that is how it works. Allow me to explain. Imagine that there is a clone of you. There is a clone of you. It's got the same height. It's got the same face. It's got the same genetics, the same skin color, the same parents, the same wealth, the same everything. Everything about him is the same as you. Except the person or the mind of that clone is not yours. Instead, it's James Bond, or it's Batman, or it's Giga Chad, or it's your idea of who Adonis is. What would that person do? What would that person say? What would that person think? Syntax, yeah, that's right, shadow clone. Except in that shadow clone, it's not you, it's James Bond. Perhaps it's Syntax. Perhaps it's me. Perhaps it's Spear. Perhaps it's Hamza. Perhaps it's Adonis. What would that person do? What would that person think? What would that person say? How would that person react It's going to be very different to how you react, very different to what you would say, very different from what you would do. Why is that? Because that person, right, James Bond, Superman, Batman, Giga Chad, they have a different set of beliefs. They have a different mindset. They have tangibly different reinforcing experiences. I'll call it that, reinforcing experiences. Your experience up to now might be, oh, I'm kind of shy, and when I talk to girls, I stutter. That might be your experience up to now, but that's not James Bond's experience. That's not Superman's experience. That's not Batman's experience. They just go and they do because they know they can do it, because they've done it a million times before. When you have those reinforcing experiences, you just end up believing it. You just end up thinking, oh, it's no big deal. Do you believe that you can get out of bed and take a step to the toilet? Yeah, you've done that a million times. Why wouldn't you be able to? In the same way, that extreme, exaggerated version of yourself with the perfect mindset, they've done it a billion times. They have the mindset. But, and here's the key point about fake it till you make it, on the outside, surface level, from an observer's point of view, looking in from the outside, you two, you and your clone, look absolutely identical. They cannot tell you apart. And yet, the two of you achieve drastically different results. Because it's all about the mindset. Everything else about you is identical. Just the mindset is different. When the mindset is different, everything else will be different. Like I said at the very start, a lot of us end up focusing on the results, focusing on how to get there. They think, oh, do I have a girlfriend? Do I have A+ in my exam? Do I have 200-pound bench press? Or whatever it is, metric that you're measuring against. But without the foundation, the mindset is the foundation. Without the foundation, the walls cannot stand up. The roof cannot stand up. Your house will crumble. Having a strong foundation allows you to build a stronger frame, a stronger house. That's faking it till you make it. Because on the outside, no one can tell the damn difference. On the outside, you and your clone look absolutely identical. People, especially strangers, they don't know what to think of you. They don't know that you're some Spurg, you're some Jeffrey, you're some retard. They just think, oh, that's some guy I don't know. Cool. I don't care. Because I'm too busy thinking about me to think about them. When's the last time, think about it, when's the last time you focused and thought about someone? Not your crush or anything like that, just some random stranger. When's the last time you thought, oh, that stranger looked a bit funny? And then dwelled upon that thought later? Probably never. If someone looks funny to you, you might think, oh yeah, cool. That guy looks funny. And then you would move on with your day. 15 seconds later, you wouldn't even remember it. That's how everyone thinks of you. Because you're not worthy of taking up space in their mind. Everyone is too busy fixated on themselves to be fixated on you. On the outside, surface level, you and your clone are identical. Until you give the person that you're interacting with a reason to believe otherwise, they're not going to think negatively of you. There's no reason for them to think negatively of you. So fake it till you make it. Because it might as well be real. The fakeness, that belief without the reinforcing experiences, it might as well be real. The second part, the corollary to fake it till you make it, is confidence is competence. Confidence is competence. And competence results in confidence. It relates to what I said a moment ago. Reinforcing experiences. After you fake it for a long time, you'll quickly see that, hey, if I do these actions, if I act a certain way, then these results will follow. If I stand tall, puff my chest out, if I walked confidently, if I hold my head up high, people make way for me. They think I'm important. They think I'm busy. When they see me walking through, they make way for me. Whereas if I hunch over, look down, look sad, hunch shoulders, people don't make way for me. People look down upon me. People think, oh, what a loser. Only a loser has that kind of posture. Only a loser acts that way. And yeah, it's still the same person. It's still me. Right? I haven't changed. I've just changed my posture. But after doing this multiple times, after having all these reinforcing experiences, if I do action A, I get result A. If I do action B, I get result B. After doing this loop multiple times, and many times, you will no longer be faking it. Because you will have these reinforcing experiences that tell you that yes, if I do this, if I make these actions, I will get these results. At that point, you've made it. At the start, let's say we're talking about talking to girls. Your first approach, hi, excuse me, do you have the time? I like your dress, by the way, bye. That might be your first approach, a stumbling, idiotic mess. But by your fifth approach, by your 10th approach, by your 100th approach, you'll be, hey, you got the time? Oh, I like the skirt on you. Looks cute. Where'd you get it from? Oh, yeah? Cool. We'll keep that in mind. Hey, do you have any time right now? Wanna grab a coffee? Yeah, I'm in a happy mood. Let's grab a coffee together. You got some time now? By your 100th approach, that will feel absolutely natural. Because those previous 99 approaches, those were the faking it steps. By the 100th approach, you would have made it because you have those 99 reinforcing experiences that tell you if you talk like a retard, if you talk like a spurg, the girl will treat you like a spurg, like a retard. But if you talk with confidence, the girl will think, oh my God, this guy's confident. Even if deep down you're not, the girl will think, this guy's got something going on with him. Yeah, let me see where this guy goes. Let me see what's up with this guy. That's cool. So that's the second part. Next, we'll move on to limiting beliefs. I actually already spoke about this in the earlier section. When you have a limiting belief, whether it's from a young age or whether it's something that you've just ingrained into yourself, you end up locking yourself in. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example of a simple limiting belief that I had in high school. Down here in Sydney, Australia, English class is mandatory from year 7 to year 12. Everyone has to take it. In year 7, my English teacher was a pushover. She did not control the class very well. Even I don't doubt that she's clever. I don't doubt that she knows her own English. But she did not convey that very well. She did not teach the class very well. She did not control the class very well. Instead, what ended up happening is, being year 7s, so that's 12 years old roughly, you just chat in the classroom, spurg out in the classroom. Teacher would say, boys, be quiet, please. Everyone would ignore her. And then she just goes, okay, I give up now. And half our lessons would just be watching movies under the pretense of, oh, we're going to analyze this movie. We're gonna look what's in the movie. We're going to look at all these camera angles and these sound effects. But really, it was just, hey, let's watch a movie so you guys would shut up. And so as a result, I didn't learn English very well. If you guys didn't know, by the way, English is not my first language. But you guys can barely tell. Anyways, back to the story. I thought English did not make sense because the teacher did not explain it very well. So I just thought, yeah, okay, you know what? I'll get a passing grade if I just copy down what's on the board and put it into my essays. My first language is Chinese, by the way. I'll just copy down those quotes, and I'll copy down those techniques and those camera angles, and I'll write in my essay, and I'll get a pass. It's okay because I don't really understand it. And then that mentality continued on into year 8, year 9. And even when I did have a competent teacher, I had already internalized the belief that, oh, English doesn't make sense. I'm not going to do English because it's a waste of time. It's stupid. English doesn't make sense. And I continued that belief all the way into my final year, year 12, right before my, in New South Wales here, we call it the HSC, the high school certificate, basically your university entrance exam. For all of you asking why we sound so British, it's because Australians came from Britain originally. We were their scums. The British scums, the British criminals, they shipped them off to Australia. And now look at us all here. I did not grow up in Australia. I grew up in China. But I did have my entire schooling career in Australia. Not counting preschool and stuff. Okay. I got distracted. Where was I? I was talking about English. Okay, so all the way up to now, I've just been thinking, oh, you know what, English is just whatever. I'll just get a passing mark. All right, we're talking about limiting beliefs. I had believed that English did not make sense. It was not worth my time to study. But because the HSC exam, the university entrance exam, is heavily weighted, not heavily weighted, but it is weighted towards your English result, meaning if you score poorly in English, even if you score very well in everything else, if you score poorly in English, it will drag your score down. So for the first time ever, I properly tried to study English. I still had the belief that English didn't make sense, but at least I tried this time. I bloody tried. And for the first time, English made sense to me. I cannot tell you what a crazy moment it was. English for the first time in my life. English class, not the English language, all right? I can speak English. But English class, for the first time in my life, actually made sense. All those techniques, all those camera angles, everything actually made sense for once. I cried. I cried. I cried because I had wasted 6 years of my schooling life thinking that English was not worth my time. When English, after you actually learn it and it starts to make sense, was so beautiful. It was so lovely. And I know this sounds all hocus pocus and this is getting all weird, but I cried. And then after high school ended, after I graduated, I started teaching. I started being a tutor, an academic tutor. I taught high school and I taught primary school. When I was teaching my primary school classes, I was teaching them English. I was teaching them writing skills. And once again, after that first class, I cried again. Because I had realized that, holy shit, my teachers are dumb. My teachers were garbage back in primary school. They couldn't teach for shit. Now, I'm tooting my own horn here. Alright, I realize I'm bragging. But I swear, if I had myself as a teacher back in primary school, I would be so much better. English would be so much more fun from the get-go. English would be amazing. That was my limiting belief. Limiting belief because I thought, oh, you know what, English doesn't make sense, it's not worth my time. I'm sure you have plenty of limiting beliefs, both big and small. Let's now talk about my bullying story. Like I mentioned, English is not my first language. I grew up in China. When I came here for my first day, so it's basically, I was born, and then as soon as I was able to move on to overseas, as soon as I could legally hop on a plane, basically my parents shipped me off. I got deported. No, my parents sent me to China to live with my grandparents so that they could focus on running their business, running their cafe. Because having a kid means that someone has to take care of me and they don't have time for that. Running a full-time, like running a cafe, if a lot of you don't realize, running a cafe or any food business really is a lot of man hours. It's not like, oh, you know, I feel like getting a coffee, so I'll just hop onto the cafe. The cafe doesn't just magically exist. The cafe doesn't just magically make you a coffee right away. They have a lot of stuff that they have to put together. Chairs to put down, machines to start running, things to start heating up, a lot of things. My mum, all right, so my parents ran this together, but my mum, just so that my dad could sleep an extra hour, she got up at 4:30 every day. Took the damn bus, the first damn bus that there would be. And she opened shop all by herself. There was a lot of shit to unpack. And then when I was old enough to, I started helping out. My parents went together so that my mum, instead of waking up at 4:30, she could afford to sleep in and wake up at 6:30 instead. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Back to my bullying story. I grew up in China for whatever reason. And then right before what we call kindergarten, so before year one, a few days before that, I flew back to Australia to start school. And then it was my first day of school. Little Spear goes to school. I did not understand a goddamn word of anything anyone said. There was only 2 other Chinese kids in my class. And as you can imagine, I would be bugging them all the time. Hey, what did the teacher say? Hey, what did that kid say? Hey, what did they say? What did that say? I would just be asking that all the time. Teacher found me annoying. All the other kids found me annoying. And it also didn't help that I had allergies and asthma. I could not breathe through my nose very well. I wanted to, but I ended up being what we affectionately call a mouth breather. But every time my nose would vaguely clear up, I would try to breathe through it and I'll make a lot of sniffing noises. And all the kids would just say, shut up, breathe through your mouth. I got accustomed to that. Everyone was excluding me. They didn't want me to join the friend group. They didn't want to have anything to do with me because in class, I was the outcast. Now, by the end of that year, my English had, kids learn very quickly. My English had developed to a point where I could hold a basic conversation. I could understand what everyone else was saying. But because by then everyone was just so used to excluding me, they continued to exclude me. They continued to push me away. And I had internalized the mindset that maybe I am the social punching bag. Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe this is just the way I am. And that continued every year, every damn year. And then in year 5, again, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a smart kid. So in year 5, I transferred school to what we call OC class or opportunity class, basically classes for smart kids. And it was supposed to be a fresh start because apart from one other girl who I didn't really talk to, everyone else was new to me. Everything was fresh. I didn't know anyone there, and a lot of the kids where, like in my book, they did not know anyone. Some kids did, but a lot of us didn't. And yet, within 2 weeks, I already fell back into the role of being the social punching bag. Because I had internalized the belief that I am the social punching bag. When we were introducing to it, when we were introducing ourselves to one another, icebreakers and whatnot, I acted shy. I acted as if I did not belong, that I didn't believe that I belonged. Kids being kids, they pick up on this stuff very quickly. In every situation, I would defer to the opinion of someone else. It's like, hey, Spear, what do you want to play today? Or what do you want to do today? I don't mind. Ask him. Ask her. I don't mind. It doesn't really matter to me. That's how I acted in every situation. And so the other kids picked up on this very quickly. And then again, within 2 weeks, I was a social punching bag again. But by this time, I had already tried to start thinking, it's like, no one likes to be bullied. No one likes to feel like shit. Why was I the social punching bag? I started thinking about that. I try to make jokes. I see what the popular kids do. They get laughs, right? So, okay, I should do that too. I should try to make jokes. I would make a joke. And then people would either not laugh at me, not laugh with me, or they'll laugh at me for trying. And then the smart kids, or the popular kids, they will hear my joke. They think, that's funny. Let me try that joke. Let me say the same joke. Literally 30 seconds after I just told the same joke. And they would get so many laughs, so much praise for making my joke. That was my goddamn joke. They stole it. And I started thinking, this doesn't make sense. We told the same joke. It must be something else. I couldn't figure it out. We didn't have textbooks or videos on mental health and social dynamics and all that. We were just kids. I was like, 10? I wasn't looking online for self-improvement. I wasn't looking online for any of this stuff. So that continued to confuse me. Down here in Australia, year 6 is the end of primary school. Year 7 is the start of high school. Again, I went to a very smart high school because I tested very well. But because I came from a very smart primary school, most of the kids there also moved with me to my new high school. And this time, it didn't even take 2 weeks. It took 2 minutes. Everyone recognized me. I was my own social punching bag again. I didn't like it. But in the moment, because I didn't know any better, I couldn't do anything about it. Because once again, I had internalized the mindset that this was all normal. There's something wrong with me. I deserve to be the social punching bag. That was my mindset. Continued all the way to the end of year 12, even after I graduate. But how this all changed, right? This was a lot of me reading self-improvement stuff. But it was half of it, really, if I'm honest, was sheer dumb luck that I managed to have a 5-month break between the end of high school and the start of university. Right, in Australia, this is what happens anyways. University starts around February, high school ends around, if I remember correctly, October. So you get roughly 5 months. Those 5 months, I didn't really do anything. Right? I told myself, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna get jacked. I'm gonna get all the girls. Yeah, that's what I told myself, and I bet that's what you guys tell yourselves too. But I didn't. I just wallowed in my own sorrows, felt sorry for myself, and just sat at home, played games, jerked off a bunch. Didn't really do much. But without me recognizing or without me realizing, those 5 months were a mental reset for me. Because it was 5 months where I did not have the reinforcing experience that I was a social punching bag. It was 5 months where I just had no interaction or very few interactions. When I started uni, on my first day, I was very anxious. Part of me didn't want to go because I thought, oh no, this is going to be high school all over again. People are going to make fun of me. I'm going to feel like absolute garbage again. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. Maybe it was because in university, everyone tries to be more adult. Everyone's going, oh, I'm a grown up now. I can't be doing dumb shit anymore. That's a lie. People still do dumb shit. I still do dumb shit. Maybe it was just everyone's trying to be adult. Maybe it's just everyone doesn't know me. Maybe I look intimidating. Now, I am fairly tall, 183, 184 centimeters on a good day. That's 6'1", I think, for you Americans. For whatever reason, I did not experience any more bullying. People didn't make fun of me. And that felt really, really, really weird. Because left, right, every time I talked to someone, every interaction I had, I would flinch. I would just get ready. I would brace myself for the inevitable put downs, for the inevitable social punching, verbal punching. But those never came. They never happened. I would just be, hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. I'm Spear. Blah, blah, blah. And I'll be waiting, haha, you've got a funny haircut, or you look funny, or any stupid thing. But that never happened. And for a whole year, I just wandered around just feeling really, 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 really weird. There was a lot of cognitive dissonance happening. Because I still had the belief that I was a social punching bag. And yet no one reinforced that belief. Those 5 months were a blessing. They acted as a mental reset. And then because I no longer had that reinforcing experience that everyone was out to get me, everyone was going to bully me, that I was somehow a social punching bag, I started to believe that I wasn't a social punching bag. I started to look into this with fresh eyes, looked into social dynamics, looked into personality traits, looked into psychology, looked into a bunch of things. And that's how I got to where I am today. Like I said, those 5 months were a blessing. It was sheer dumb luck that Australia has a 5-month break between high school and university. Who knows? Maybe if I jumped straight from high school to university with no break, maybe I would be a very different man than I am today. So that wraps up the first half of this lecture. This was just all about my experiences, all about me. I'm very narcissistic. I love talking about myself. I love hearing the sound of my own voice. And by the comments, it sounds like everyone likes the sound of my voice. The next part, we are going to talk about the 5 stages of grief, or the 5 stages of pain, the 5 stages of, in this case, 5 stages of self-improvement. Excuse me while I quickly Google search what the actual 5 stages are, because I had forgotten to write this down. Okay, stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. First stage, denial. I remember thinking, these 5 stages can be applied to so many aspects of our life, where we experience turmoil and eventually experience some change and some acceptance. At the start, in the kindergarten, remember that I did not speak any English. what I forgot to also include was that my grandma, who raised me, she is a very, very devout Buddhist. Like she embodies Buddhist philosophies. Absolutely, so much to the extreme. And Buddhist philosophy, in one way or another, preaches kindness. She told me that if I just offer kindness, if I offer some kind of value to the other kids, they would see me as a valuable person and they would treat me as such. I took that a little too literally. I started offering to help people do their homework. I would go to the popular kids like, hey, do you need help with your quiz? Do you need help with your puzzles? Do you need help with your homework? What can I do for you? How can I help you? During playtime, when the kids would be playing soccer or be playing handball or tennis or hand tennis or whatever you call it, whenever the ball would roll away, I would be the first to chase after the ball. I would just run after them. I would just get the ball for them without being prompted. Right? I would think that most people, if you just see that objectively, would think, oh yeah, that's Spears being a nice guy. He's trying to make friends. He's adding value. But that's not what the kids saw. The kids saw, what a weirdo. He's not even playing this game with us. What's he doing with our ball? Get away from here. Go away. We don't want you here. Go away, Spear. I would be in denial because my experiences, my real life experiences, were quite the opposite of what my grandma told me. I was in denial. And then as I continued through my schooling journey, that turned into anger. I would lash out. In fact, every year there would be some sort of incident where I would be punished for violence. The schools that I went to, they had a zero tolerance policy, zero violence policy. Any little thing, any physical behavior, any physical act that could be mildly construed as violence would be punished as violence. With the asterisk that if people dobbed on you, if people reported on you. Meaning, right, as kids, you might be watching some action hero movies and stuff. You would seeing the cops or the good guys had guns and they would shoot down the bad guys. So during playtime, I would, the classic finger gun symbol. I'll be waving my finger gun around trying to shoot people, right? Because that was the game. But that was an act of violence, apparently. It's very crazy now that I think about it. Just putting your fingers in an L shape, right? That's what a finger gun is, right? You put your fingers in an L shape, and that's an act of violence. Now, I didn't really... Yeah, very well said, right? Zero tolerance policy is just a don't fight back against bullies policy. Absolutely. Because, during primary school, like my early stages, everyone was dumb. People were pushing. Like people were pushing me around, I would push them back. I could somewhat fight back. But then when I moved to the class for smart kids, there was no physical bullying. It was all verbal. It was all mental. And you have no way of proving that. You can't just say, sir, he's making fun of me. How weak and lame does that sound? He's making fun of me, sir. I don't like it. What do you think the teacher's response would be? What would your response be? Here, have some concrete and harden the fuck up. That's basically my response from the teachers. That made me angry. In fact, here's a ridiculous incident that I got, I think, 3 days of detention for. In music class in high school, right? And I say music with air quotes because it's just people just sitting down listening to the teacher play some piano and us trying to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. That was it. In music class, I had I don't even remember what the thing was, but there was like this very minor argument between me and this other guy. It wasn't even like a full-on thing. It was just very, very minor. It's like, for example, I think blue is the best. And then they say, no, I think the color green is the best. It was something stupid like that. And I kicked their bag. I didn't kick them. I kicked their bag. I kicked their fucking bag. And that person dubbed on me. And I got 3 days of detention for that. For kicking someone's bag. It's crazy now that I think about it. But that's what happens when you have a zero tolerance policy. I understand the reasoning behind it. But when it's applied without any thinking, when it's applied just, we have a zero tolerance policy. Let's apply it word for word. Well, that's a bit dumb. As you can see in my example, I kicked a bag, not a person. You can see that part of me is still in the anger stage. That's a second stage of grief. Third stage, bargaining. This is when I would try to make compromises, where I would say, if I do this, maybe they'll treat me nicer. Maybe if I dress a certain way, maybe if I wear these clothes, people will think I'm cool. I would do lots of these little covert contracts with myself, saying, if I do X, I should get result Y. But of course that doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it's because it's some really minor thing that, of course, it would happen. Then you enter the depression stage. There's nothing I can do about it. And for a long time, that's what I thought. I thought there was nothing I can do about it. And then the final stage, acceptance. This goes back to what I said in the very start. Give yourself permission to love yourself. Give yourself permission to accept yourself. I finally accepted myself. Those 5 months, like I said, stroke of dumb luck. Those 5 months really helped me clear my mind, have a mental reset. And that allowed me to continue my journey towards being the best version of myself. Why I bring up the 5 stages of grief, or the 5 stages of self-improvement here, is actually not because of what I just mentioned, but rather we cannot force progress through these 5 stages. And that's something that's a very common theme that I want to address on this server and on a lot of self-improvement or self-help communities, not strictly related to this one. Everyone is at a different point in life. For example, I've gone through those 5 stages multiple times with multiple aspects. So I can look back and say, what I felt in stage 1, valid. I was feeling a lot of pain. What I felt in stage 4, that's valid. I was feeling pretty beat up. I was feeling helpless. All of those stages are valid. And I see a lot of people, they're well-intentioned, but they give advice that is not really relevant or pertinent to the stage that the question asker is in. So for example, someone who is just starting out on self-improvement, whether it's because they just happen to stumble across a video that says, you should be a better version of yourself. Of course. Why didn't I think of that? Let me be a better version. Or more likely, it's because they're not fulfilled in life, or they have some problem that they wish to solve, like I did, my bullying story. Maybe you want to be confident and not stutter when you talk to girls. Whatever the issue is, when you start, you are literally at the start of your journey. And some people, as well-intentioned as they are, they might give advice that's more relevant if you are closer to the end of the journey. When people say, just take action. What does that mean? I just started my journey. What is taking action? I don't know. I literally just started. Give me some concrete steps, right? Or as I like to call them, Spears Spastic Social... No, what did I call them? Spears Spastic Special Guide to Doing blah, blah, blah. Whatever that is. And I'll make some more videos on this later. Give me the Spurg level. Give me the autistic level advice. That's what they need. And vice versa. Some people who have been maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe 2 months into their journey, they feel like, oh, I've made so much progress. Because yes, they have. But then they start spewing their mouth and trying to give advice to everything and everyone because they think, oh, everyone's journey must be like what I'm going through. So my advice is very relevant to everyone else's. No. And that's why I'm bringing up this part, 5 stages of self-improvement. Everyone is at a different stage. Some people are still battling with themselves, fighting their own wars, internally and externally. Some people are trying to shake off their past, trying to shake off their trauma. Maybe they have a falling out with their parents. Some people have gone past that, like me. I did not always have a solid relationship with my parents. Now I would say, for the most part, it's very solid. We talk about things very casually. We discuss very serious things in a very casual manner because it just feels normal to bring this stuff up. But it wasn't always like this. I've gone through that stage. Not everyone has. I remember when I brought this, when I first started teaching, I thought, I'm such a smart kid, right? I got such a high score and I was able to do it, so everyone should be able to do it. So when I started teaching and one of my students was just loud-mouthing, just talking a lot, instead of calmly giving him reason to be quiet and focus, I basically mocked him. I basically became, for a brief moment, a bully. It wasn't a moment that I'm proud of. I basically called him a little idiot who could not close his mouth. But I said much harsher words than that. And very rightly so, he requested to be transferred out of my class. I don't blame him for that. But in that very one particular moment, I did. I thought, what an idiot. Is it so hard to just close your mouth and listen? That's what I thought. In another class, within the same year, a different class, one of the students was having a tough time understanding what I thought was a simple concept. This was, if I remember correctly, year 9 mathematics. And basically, after explaining it a couple of times, I lost my cool and I said, look, this stuff is very, very, very simple and straightforward. If you still don't understand it, you're either not trying hard enough or this place is just not for you. And he never came back. He quit that day. I said that half jokingly, that statement, I said it half jokingly. But to him, that statement was very, very literal. That statement changed the course of his life because he quit. Maybe change. Sorry, that's my dog in the background. Everyone say hello to my dog, Diego. Okay, back to the thing. Who knows? Maybe his life was better because he quit my class. Maybe it's not. I will never know because I never got a chance to say sorry to him. I never got a chance to say, I take my words back. Because at that moment, I was very arrogant. I was very proud of myself. I had a lot of pride. I thought, yes, I've made it, so everyone else can make it. I only had my experience. I didn't have the wealth of knowledge that I do now. I did not have any experiences to go off of but my own. And again, I really wish I could go back in time and take my words back. Just keep that in mind every time you talk to someone or you give advice or receive advice, that you and them may not be on the same wavelength. You might not be at the same stage in life. And now we're going to talk about the end game. All right, we're coming to the end of this lecture now. Let me drink some water. Some good old H2O. Now we're going to talk about the end game. What is the point of all of this? What's the point of self-improvement? What's the point of working on this mentality thing? If you think back to when you were a kid, like 4 years old, 5 years old, you probably don't even remember it, but you can picture what it's like to be carefree, not knowing how the world works, being so blissful in your ignorance. Saying, "Mommy, Daddy, I'm hungry. Give me some food. Wah. Give me some of that milk." How wonderful it is. How blissful it was. And then as the real world, real life TM, as it piles its punches on you, you start to realize, oh, it's not all rainbows and roses. And your view of this perfect world shatters. The end game for me, and this end game is for me, it might not be for you, is to no longer care. What do I mean by that? The end game is to have such strong belief in yourself, such calm belief in yourself, that you don't care about what other people think. That you are able to respect yourself and love yourself. So that even if the world hates you, you still love yourself. The end game is to leave this community. I'll say that again. The end game is to leave this community. Because once you're able to detach, once you're able to leave your attachment to anything, so whether it's Hamza's cult, Hamza's videos, or your identity and attachment to your parents, to your friends, to your crush, whatever it is, that's when I reckon you've made it. But if we then zoom out, I think that's where your journey begins. Hold on, you just said that's what the end game is. What do you mean the journey just begins? Bro, you're talking in riddles. Yeah, yes I am. I'm talking in riddles here. Because why am I here? If I say I've made it, if I say I should leave communities like this, why am I here? Why are you guys here listening to me? It's because now this is the start of my second journey. The start of the journey where I now give back. Not necessarily to the people who helped me, but rather to pay it forwards. Some people in the past have helped me. I can't repay them, but what I can do is pay it forwards. What I can do is take what I've learned and help others. Right? There's roughly 100 of you here listening today. Hopefully my words have helped you, even though you don't know me personally and I don't know you personally. Hopefully these words have helped. And then, from time to time, you would revisit your communities, the ones that you used to be in, go back for a refresher here and there, and go back just to see how far you've come, just to see how much you have changed. In my mind, right, when I was in primary school, my primary school looked big. In reality, it's because I was small. Like, you're a kid, you're tiny, but everything looked big. Recently, I went back to that school, like just for the hell of it, just to take a walk around, and everything felt tiny. All the buildings felt tiny. Everything felt tiny. And in that very simple way, I've realized I've grown. Like, quite literally, I've grown a lot. I've grown a lot taller, so everything looks tiny. I would revisit old videos that I used to watch 10 years ago, 15 years ago. YouTube. Was YouTube around 15 years ago? Who knows, whatever. I'll revisit videos that are at least a decade old now. And I would, when watching those videos, I would remember the things I used to think and how those videos helped me. And how, even though, for everyone asking how late you guys are, I've been talking for an hour now, so that's how late. I'll go revisit those videos, those articles, those resources that helped me. And I would see how much I agree or how much I disagree. Because in the back then, when I was first laying my eyes on those videos, on those articles, I would be lapping it up. I'd be like, oh yeah, this is amazing stuff. Oh yeah, good resources, bro, yeah. But now, I'll be like, yeah, it's all right. Some good quality content, but maybe some stuff that's a bit stupid. Again, the end game is to no longer care. The end game is to leave communities like this, to live your own life, and then from time to time come back, give back to the communities that helped you, and come back to see how much you've grown. Some final thoughts to wrap this up. This thing called life, it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to live life. It's called life. Life is for living. A lot of you, I won't single anyone out, but a lot of you have reached out to me asking about, mindset, mental health. How do I do this? How do I do that? You get all very, very wrapped up within yourself. Even Adonis level people, right? People who a lot of you look up to is like, oh, look at those purple words next to their name. Must be amazing being an Adonis. Bro, we're the same people. We just have a fancy label next to our names. Side tangent here, but I remember some people getting really, really upset that, oh my God, how did he become Adonis and I didn't become Adonis? Bro, I'm going to spaz out. I'm going to just DM all the mods. I'm going to just spaz out and make people hate me. I'm just going to lash out because I felt so betrayed, so angry that I did not become promoted to Adonis. It's just a label. Now, I realize I'm saying that with that label, right? I have that label. It's like rich people saying, oh, money doesn't matter. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter once you have the money. And I realize I am saying that from a position of privilege. Well, quote unquote privilege, as much privilege as a Discord role can give you. But life is supposed to be fun. Let's take a step back. Even Adonis level people have their own struggles. They get so wrapped up in this self-improvement thing. All right, what used to be motivational? All right, so watching those motivational videos from Hamza or from whoever, it's like, oh, you should be on the grind. You should be hustling. You should be working on yourself 24/7, 365. That stuff burns you out. After a while, because what used to be motivational is now depressing. It's now guilt tripping. Because what used to be, oh yeah, I have the energy to go improve myself, now becomes, oh, I have to constantly improve myself. I don't have time to play games. I don't have time to enjoy myself because that would not be improving myself. You end up guilt tripping yourself into thinking, I have to be on the grind, 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 have to be on the grind. But that's not what life is about. At the start, yes, pedal to the metal. Go all out. Go do as much as you can as quickly as you can. But don't forget to take breaks. Don't forget to give yourself permission to love yourself. That includes taking care of yourself. That is not me giving you permission to procrastinate and just sit around and play games. And, oh, yeah, bro, I'm loving myself, bro. Oh, I'm just going to jerk off again. I'm going to break my nofap streak because, I want to take care of myself. I'm loving myself. No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't misconstrue my words. Just remember, when you're feeling burnt out, it's okay to take a break. For your sake and for the sake of those around you. Because when you're feeling shit, when you're in a bad mood, people pick up on that. People don't want to be around you. That becomes a spiral. People go, oh, that guy's being a downer. Don't want to talk to him anymore. And they might do the nice thing, or like this, what's considered socially, what's the word I'm looking for? They might feel compelled to say, hey, how are you? Are you okay? And then if you start your verbal diary and say, oh, my life is not okay, woe is me, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people just tune out. A lot of people are like, yep, okay, cool. See you later, bro. Bye. And that's it. Don't let it get to that stage. I myself let it get to that stage a couple of times in my own journey. Don't let it get to that stage. Because once you're spiraling in, it's a lot of people use this phrase incorrectly. It's actually a positive feedback loop, because your actions reinforce your actions, even though the outcome is negative. A lot of people call this a negative feedback loop. It's actually a positive feedback loop. But anyways, the result is negative. You're feeling depressed. That manifests itself in your behavior. People pick up on that. People don't want to be around depressing people. And then that reinforces your depression, or feeling of sadness, or feeling of loneliness, or feeling of helplessness, or whatever you want to say. Don't let it get to that stage. All right, that's it from me today. There's no homework for this lecture, but we will now be taking questions. And for anyone who does have permissions to come up, feel free to come on anytime. Okay, Azra, let's get you up.
Hello, bro.
G'day. How you doing?
Lecture. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
The question I would like to ask is that how could I help a friend that is probably in a worse mental state than I am with self-improvement?
Can you elaborate? Because a vague question can only get vague responses. You there, bro?
Pardon?
Azra, are you there?
Yeah.
What did you say? You said, how do you help a friend who has a worse mental state? But I want you to elaborate on that, because if you give me a very vague question, I can only give a vague response. Can you tell me any
Okay.
specifics?
Oh, okay. So the friend is very paranoid and very has a lot of anxiety induced, and the stuff that Hamza has preached about meditation, about gratitude channeling and channeling, it has worked for him, but it hasn't worked in the way it has worked somewhat, but it's still there, if you understand. I've researched into shadow work and about healing the inner child for him, and about healing trauma, but I don't feel like it's effective for him.
How
If you
long
understand.
has this friend been on this self-improvement journey? It's been a week, been a month, been a year?
I think he has done it for a couple of months.
Couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know this friend of yours, so take my words with a grain of salt. But I invite you to just tell him, keep going, to support him where you can. I know that sounds very vague. What do I mean? This guy's only been doing it for a couple of months. He's still feeling anxious. He's still feeling sad for himself, or whatever it is. It's probably because, again, take my words with a grain of salt because I don't know him. It's probably because he has some reinforcing experiences even to this day. So his environment is not conducive to his mental state. Meaning, like, take my story as an example. If every day I go to school and people bully me, people pick on me, people say mean things to me, I'm not going to overnight think, oh, you know what? I'm going to feel very happy. I'm going to believe that I don't deserve to be bullied. No, if anything, that belief that I am a social punching bag gets reinforced. I don't know what environment you're in or your friend is in, but invite yourself and invite him to look into that environment. Multiple environments, whether it's home, whether it's school, whether it's workplace, and ask, like truly sit down and ask for him, what do you think it is that's holding you back? What do you think it is that's making you anxious? Take some time. It's not something that you can just wake up and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, that thing makes me anxious. Cool. There are some surface level things. Like, for example, for me, I know that bullying, or my bullies, made me anxious. That was very obvious. But upon deeper reflection, I also realized that fear of judgment, fear of public speaking. So even like, okay, right now, I'm alone in my own room. There's no one looking at me. And yet I still feel a bit of pressure because I'm talking to multiple people here. As a kid, every time I had to give a speech, right, you know how schools make you do speeches, I would be sweaty. And by the end of it, I would be shivering because of how much sweat just drenches off my forehead and into my clothes, and the wind would make me feel cold. I'm doing that right now. Even though I'm alone in my room, even though for the most part, my mindset is one that is healthy, I still have a fear of judgment. Right now, my forehead is a little bit sweaty. Might just because the day is heating up. Down here in Australia today, I think it's 27 degrees Celsius. It's not a cool day by any means. But I know that if I was not giving this lecture, I wouldn't be sweating. I'm not nervous, but I would not be sweating. I know I got sidetracked here. I was talking about your friend and what gives him anxiety. So look deep down. Ask him to do this. What do you think it is that gives him anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
And then once he can answer that question, that's when you can take the next step to try to address it.
Yo, what's up? Yo.
You're bombarding my lecture like this, bro.
Sorry. Jag hörde inte så typ bara jag må bli på
Okay.
Can I
right.
ask one question to that?
Okay, one more. There's a few people lining up.
Yeah. He has like a bad environment where his parents don't really care about him, and constantly getting mocked and bullied at school. So how would I be able to fix that for him?
So if he has those environments that are negative towards him, right? For example, at home, you can't really change that. You're still living at home. It's not like, oh, you know what? I don't feel like living at home anymore. Let me just pack my bags and move out. For most people, that's not a very realistic option. That's not something that's directly within your control. But you know what is within your control? Making other environments. For example, joining a gym, joining a social club, joining whatever. Those environments that are conducive to his mental health. That's what he should do. All right. There's a few other people wanting to come up. I'll put you down for just a second. Okay, Syntax and Trip, you've invited yourselves up. What's up?
Actually, you invited me.
Okay, Trip invited himself up.
And then I accepted.
Okay, what's up, boys?
Nothing much. I'm just chilling here because it looks
cool. It just looks cool, you know, being on top, you know.
All right, if you guys don't mind then.
Spear?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. First lecture's going pretty smoothly, I reckon. Let's invite who? Let's invite Leo up. Leo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, bro. Spear, do you remember me, bro? Like from weeks ago?
From weeks ago, bro. I talked to so many people here. Your name does sound
Bro,
familiar, but I can't remember what we spoke about. Sorry.
I forgot what we was talking about. Oh, I asked you for like advice on like nutrition and stuff.
Sorry, I don't remember that.
But oh, okay. But Spear, before I ask my question, I just want to thank you, bro, because you've been helping people like ever since I first saw you, bro, and like you've been like a really helpful person on this server, you know, and I just want to give you your props, bro. You know, you've been really helpful to me, so thank you, bro. But my question was, like, for people who are like, because in my profile picture, I list myself as 5'6", right?
Mm.
Like, what would be your advice to people who are like my height? You know, like, because it's like I know height is just something that you're born with and you can't really change it, but you know, it's kind of demotivating, you know, when I see like a 13-year-old come on this server and he's like 6'7", you know, and it's like,
do you believe
you
that?
know what
Do
I
you
mean,
believe
bro?
that?
Yeah,
Like,
I
this
mean,
is just a nickname, right?
but like they all can't be lying, you know, like one of them might be true, you know, but like what do you, what is the advice you would give to like someone who is like short, you know?
when you're 15, you gotta grow your fucking like your
Yeah,
six.
I know. I'm a girl. But like people like have been calling me like manlet. You know, people have just been like, you know, trashing me for like my height, you know.
Well,
And it's like, bro, like
that is people like putting you down because you know it makes them feel good. You know, oh, you know, I'm gonna put him down because he got something or he, you know.
yeah, I know. Like just people just been assholes, you know. But Spirit, what is the advice you would give, you know, or Trip, like one of you?
For short people. Okay, now this
Yeah.
this comes back to the mindset thing that I was talking about at the very start. The mentality that, oh, if I'm short, I deserve to be bullied, or if I'm short, life is worse for me simply because of my height. Now, I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand that short people, in most aspects of life, are disadvantaged compared to taller people. Like, if you compare two people who are otherwise identical, one's taller, people just look up to the tall, like literally they look up to him. They just think the taller guy has more to say or is somehow more important because they're taller. If you look at all our national leaders, most of them are tall simply because tallness has a leadership quality to it. Now, that being said, like you said, height is not within your control. As far as I know, there's no pill they can pop that will make you grow 5 inches. There's no surgery, or maybe there is surgery. Who knows? People are crazy enough these days to do it. There's nothing tangibly that you can do to make yourself grow a lot. But that should not be a barrier to your success. One of the people that really instilled this into me, the guy rambles a lot, but do you know RSD Tyler or Owen Cook?
No.
If you everyone just quickly search RSD Tyler and look for images. Search Google image, search RSD Tyler. Look what he looks like. He's balding. He's ginger. And he is short. The dude is short. And yet that doesn't faze him a single bit. If anything, it motivates him to prove all his haters wrong. It motivates him to say, look at you haters. You calling me short? That doesn't matter. I'm pulling more chicks than any of you. Now, I'm not saying getting chicks should be your goal. But I'm just using him as an example that height is just not a limiting factor. It's not something that's within your control, so you should not focus on it. I know that's very broad advice that you've probably heard before. But honestly, that's the only thing that I can tangibly say about the matter. You need to give yourself some reinforcing experiences that tell you that height doesn't matter, right? Like if your name is to be believed, you're 15, which means in the grand scheme of things, you don't have much life experience, so everything feels new and the world feels a bit unknown and it feels a bit unexplored. So the first thing or the first idea that you latch onto, for example, your friend's telling you, you're a manlet, you're 5'6", you're short. You attach yourself to that idea. You think, oh, that's a valid idea. There must be a reason that they're saying it. If my friends are calling me 5'6", or if they're calling me short, there must be a reason that they're calling it out, right? For example, you have 2 eyes. Why aren't they calling out the fact that you have 2 eyes? It must not be worthy of being called out. But you're short? Oh, that's something that they called out. That must be important somehow. And then your mind races and it attaches itself to that idea. I know that it's a lot easier said than done. You can't just say, oh, you know what? I'm going to let go of that idea. I'm going to forget the fact that I'm 5'6" and it doesn't matter to me anymore. It's not that easy. I know that. Instead, fill your mind with other ideas so that, for example, if this was the only idea in your mind, that I'm short, okay, that's 100% of your mind. But if you can fill it with other ideas such as, I am strong, I go to the gym, I can bench press a lot, I am strong. Now the fact that you're short is only 50% of your mind. Fill it up with other ideas. Oh, I've developed my social skills, I can talk to a bunch of girls. Or whatever it is. Now, the amount of space within your head, the fact that you're short, that takes up less and less and less and less space. Fill your mind with other thoughts such that this thought is insignificant. That's my advice to you.
Thank you, Spirit, bro. Thank you.
Spinning bars, bro.
I'm finna get off so someone else can ask a new question. But thank you, Spirit. All right, see you.
No worries.
Yo, Spear, how you doing, man?
Yeah, pretty good. How you doing?
I just randomly hopped on. I honestly love the idea of the power of mindset. I think it's probably one of the most important things in like all of self-improvement, because if you go into self-improvement with the wrong mindset, you're kind of dooming yourself.
That's right.
And
it's the foundation. Everyone take note of this. Listen to this. Mindset is the foundation of everything that you do. Everything that you do is built upon your mindset. Sure, 2 people could have, for example, 2 robots could replace your mind and do things and they achieve the same results. They don't have mindsets, right? They're robots. But we're not robots, we're humans. Everything that we do is built upon our mindset. If we don't have our mindset, we won't take certain actions. For example, if I believe that there is no chance in hell that I can talk to girls, I won't even take the first step to talk to a girl. If I don't believe that I am worthy of a raise, then I won't even take the first step of asking my boss for a raise. Your mindset is where everything stems from.
absolutely, man. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I tried using my height as an excuse for anything. Like, people like, oh, you're short. And I'm like, and? Dude, most successful people are short. Like, that's true. Most successful people are short. Like, not even... You got to think about it. Why does it matter? Like, why does it matter to you? It's because society has painted it where, oh, being tall is like really good and being short is bad. Like, who gives a... Like, you cannot control that. As you said, let it go. And you said it was hard to let go, but honestly, if you just give yourself 5 seconds and say, am I going to let the fact that I'm a certain height control me for the rest of my life? Think about it for 5 seconds. And if you're like, hell no, I'm not going to, then get off it. Move on. Else. Lift weights, get big. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Yes, people are surrounded by people that make fun of them, So obviously they're gonna be like, oh shit, my height is a fucking issue, right?
And that's where mindset comes in. Because if you
Yeah,
care,
obviously.
right? I'm just saying, like, that comes to mindset where if you care about what people are saying about your height, then it's on you. How do you want to view that? Do you want to view it as an opportunity to train yourself and be like, wow, that just goes to show the people that are around me, or that goes to show what people think, what people's perspectives are. But you can use it as an opportunity. You don't have to look at it as all bad and all negative,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's just absolutely not the way to go. If you look at everything like, oh, I'm short, this is going to make my journey to success harder, then guess what? It's just going to be harder. That's it. Because your brain's just connected like that. Your brain's connected to your body and all your actions. Because as you said, mindset's the fucking foundation. So if you choose to use height as an excuse, to use anything as an excuse, to be honest with you, you're hurting yourself. That's it. If you say, oh, I'm too young to do this, that's an excuse. Like that, I kid you not. Most things people say, oh, I'm too old to do this, I'm too young to do this. That's an excuse, man. Because if your mind is this powerful, where you can do anything just by purely visualizing, thinking, and literally manifesting things into your life, then how is age going to stop you from that? So really take a second. What is your excuses right now? What excuses are you telling yourself that, I don't know, oh, I can't go to the gym today, I have so much work going on? Is that really true? Or, oh, I have to eat food, I have to eat enough, it's too hard, I can't eat enough food. It's too hard to bulk. Is that really true? Is it really true that it's too hard to go and walk up to that girl that you wanted to go talk to? When in reality, when you switch your mindset, you can do anything. Like, I kid you not, I used to care so much about like girls in high school and stuff. And I mean, I'm still in high school, but like, I just realized it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter because if I just focus on myself, everything comes to me. That's just how attraction works. If I focus on positive and good energy and good relationships and finding high quality friends, everything comes to me. And instead of trying to chase all the bad energy and all the bad people and all the negativity, I can just steer clear of it, focus on the positivity, and everything comes after that. That's literally how it works. It's crazy. And small things, like, I don't know if you've talked about this, Spear, but small things like saying, oh, dang, I don't look that good today. Or, oh, I haven't made enough progress yet. That's bad talk. That's negativity. Even though it's, something that basically everyone does, that's a bad thing. You can use it as an opportunity, of course, to grow. But you got to realize that when you say, oh, I'm not good enough, you're hurting yourself. You're rewiring your brain in that moment. And it's strengthening the fact that, oh, you're not good enough to do this. You can't do this. Every time you say, I can't do something, your brain strengthens that. So whenever you want to go do something, your brain pulls that up.
I agree for the most part, but I want to say that it's not as black and white as it is for a lot of people. It's not just black and white. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to drop my mindset because some guy on Discord said I should.
Yeah.
In the short term, what you said, so what you said just then absolutely applies in the short term. So within the next 5 seconds, you can say to, for example, you see a cute girl in the park. For the next 5 seconds, you could say, oh, I don't want to. Or you could say, you know what? Just this one single time, I'm going to just shut up. I'm going to have some concrete and harden the fuck up. And just for 5 seconds, I'm just going to talk to her. I can leave after I talk to her. If I just say hi, I can then give myself permission to leave. And that is all you need to start. That's great. I completely agree. But in the bigger picture, when you zoom out, so again, in the short term, within like 5 second, 10 second, 30 second, 1 minute timeframes, absolutely. You just say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to bench press this. I'm going to talk to that girl. I'm going to do whatever action. Long term, though, like in the bigger picture, when you zoom out, your mentality, I don't think, this is my opinion, I don't think it is that black and white. I don't think it's, oh, you know what? I'll just drop my mentality. I don't care that I'm short anymore. I don't care that I'm brown anymore. I don't care that I'm Chinese anymore or anything like that. Instead, having those in this, what I said at the start of the lecture, the fake it till you make it and the confidence is competence parts of the lecture, where at the start, faking it till you make it. So those are the short-term things. So those are the, you know what, for the next 5 seconds, I'm going to be this very confident Giga Chad and I'm going to talk to that girl. You are not a confident Giga Chad, but for the next 5 seconds, you are. You can do that to your brain. Your brain can do that. Just like muster up little bursts of courage, little bursts of drive. But in the big picture, if you ask yourself, or if that person reflects upon themselves, am I a confident Giga Chad? The straightforward and simple answer is no, you're not. But what they can do is take those small instances, those small bursts of energy, and compound them. As they do those more and more, those actions become easier and easier, and the person relates to that more and more. So if I start off as a super shy, socially retarded person wanting to talk to people, not forget the girls, just wanting to talk to people, I'll say to myself, for the next 5 seconds, I will pretend I'm James Bond, or I will pretend that I'm whoever your favorite character is. And then they'll do that. And then they'll realize, hey, it was very nerve-wracking, but it wasn't too bad for 5 seconds. And so the next time they might do it for 10 seconds, or the next time they might add little challenges. So it's just like going to the gym. Progressive overload. 5 seconds turns to 6 seconds. 6 seconds turns to 10 seconds. Talking to one person turns into talking to 2 people. Turns from talking to saying hi or thank you to the grocery store person to deliberately talking to a stranger. People make these small jumps. So that big picture mindset, it's not like, oh, you know what, today I don't feel like being short anymore. I guess I'm not short. It's not quite like that, I don't think. Instead, it's more like, I will take steps so that eventually one day, maybe could be 1 month down the road, could be 1 year down the road, could be a decade down the road, I will be the person that I want to be. I will be the person that I'm emulating. I won't have to fake it anymore because I will have made it. That's how I see it.
Yeah, that's 100% true, right? The fake it till you make it thing, right? It's nice for some time. And honestly, it works to a very powerful extent where you can almost, well, not in a bad way. I'm not saying this in a bad way, but you can kind of delude yourself for a sense that you are literally what you want to be.
The mind is very powerful like that. Absolutely.
But the thing, right? If you do that enough, won't you just become that?
Yeah.
And then there's no point in fake. So that's what I did for a while. I did that for days in and out. And I literally was a different person. I was a absolutely different person. I still am. Where every single day I'd be like, I am the best. I am capable of doing this. I like repeat something I call incantations. I don't know if
like a mantra.
They're kind of like they're like affirmations, but they're on steroids, essentially. Where instead of just saying, oh, you know what? May I be grateful today? I look in the mirror and I scream, I'm going to be the most grateful motherfucker today. I'm going to and maybe before my workout, I'm going to hype myself up like crazy and be like, I'm going to crush this workout. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to push the limit. Or maybe I'm going to break a record or something. I don't know. Something, maybe your PR, right? But hype yourself up. Get yourself literally imagine yourself as that, whatever you want to be. Like when I think of myself at the gym, I'm Baki, dude. That's how I think, because I refuse to sit down and be like, oh, I'm too tired, I can't do it. I refuse to say that. Refuse. Because if I'm going to do that, then 10 years down the line, it's going to affect me. Or if I continue to say that and make excuses, then it's going to keep affecting me. It's going to keep catching up to me. Where if I just say, hold up, would Baki do that? Well, it's not obviously, you can't do that sometimes because you got to think about it's a fucking anime character. But the point is, like James Bond, for example, for those 5-10 seconds, you can literally imagine yourself and embody yourself being James Bond. And if you can do that and repeat it and do it so many times, eventually you become James Bond.
Exactly.
So I think if you do, those small 5-10 seconds, but you repeat it so much, you overload your brain with it. You overload your brain with those 5 to 10 second repetitions, then you just become that person. And that's what I've essentially done. Where I'm no longer the person who's scared of things or afraid to get shit done or scared of what people are going to think when I say something. I just speak. I just do. Like, that's just how I am now. And that's because I essentially faked it for a bit. But that's what you sometimes might have to do. Because, yes, it's good to admit, like, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm kind of in a bad place right now. Or I've been inconsistent. I've been this and I've been that. But then, for this moment, what are you going to be? Are you going to choose to change that? And I think that few seconds could really change the rest of your journey. something like that. Well, that's what I got for you. I'm sorry, I kind of like.
All good, man. All good. This is a shared platform. It's not my platform.
Yeah, well, honestly, we gotta. First of all, everyone who's listening to the lecture, bro, make sure you go to sub to Spear, bro. This content is freaking insane, like insane, man. The value he's providing here is like it valuable. It's invaluable, priceless. Like you're not gonna get this sort of information just being like, oh, let me go ask my friend for this. Your friend's not gonna tell you about this. Like you're gonna ask your friend at uni for this.
Yeah, thanks for the praise, man.
Yeah, and what's your channel? You gotta plug yourself right now, bro. I'm giving you the You're
hyping me up, bro.
I'm hyping you up because you deserve it, my friend. And
Cheers.
you gotta understand that when you put in so much hard work, for example, for a lecture like this, appreciate it. Fully take it in. Be like, God damn. Like, I have 90 people right now listening to what I have to say. That is amazing. That is incredible.
Yeah, they're hanging on to every single word we say.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
So for everyone listening, that message, well, what Aiden has been saying for the past 5 minutes, whilst there are some asterisks attached to that is the mentality that you guys should approach life with for the most part. Again, a lot of you are youngish, like teenage years, still in high school or maybe just starting college, starting university. That kind of mentality, that kind of drive where just, you know what, I don't care, I'm going to man up, I'm just going to harden up for just these 5 seconds, just these 10 seconds. If you do enough of those 5 seconds, 10 seconds reps, that's going to get you a lot further in life than any other advice. Because as much as you read, as much as you I'm going to study this, I'm going to study that. For example, if I want to study how to shoot a ball in basketball, I can read all the books I want on how to do the perfect free throw. I can read all the books on how to dribble the ball. I can read all the books, watch all the videos on how to shoot a 3-pointer. Without actually touching a ball and shooting the damn ball, I'm only going to get so far by reading it. Take the action. Take the action. And then take some more action.
And then take some more.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Just a little bit more.
And before you know it, taking action just becomes second nature to you. Before you know it, taking action is just, why not? It's easy. Why not? Before, at the start...
Like, hey, I see a cute girl over there. Might as well talk to her. Shit, why not? I got nothing to lose. like that. When you're at that point, it's an incredible feeling. Where with like what I do is it's just a way for myself to visually see that I'm making a decision. Is I snap my fingers like I'm fucking Thanos. Where for those 5 seconds that I'm about to make a decision, I'm like, all right, you know what? I see someone over there I want to talk to. I snap it. I snap and then I go. Because when I do that, I can visually and literally psychologically feel myself making that choice, taking action, executing. We should make a basketball lecture. We definitely should. That would be fun. That would be how basketball can help you improve or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Actually, our little conversation just now just reminded me of this. I'll make a mini lecture on this sometime down the road. This concept I'm going to call amuse mastery, how I approach everything. So instead of, you know what, let's just do that mini lecture right now. It's going to be like a 2-minute segment. Amuse mastery is treating everything and anyone and everyone like they're a child looking for your attention. Here's what I mean. Instead of in your mind putting, let's say you want to talk to a girl, right? Because, most of us here want to talk to girls. Unless you're a girl. Hi, Moo. You're a girl. Most of us want to talk to girls. And then in our minds, it's just like, it might be scary. It might be, what if she rejects me? And then in your mind, you just play her up to be this massive deity. You're putting them on a pedestal. Whereas if you view these interactions as, they're a kid. They're a child. They want my attention. I'm going to just mess around with them a little bit. Right? For all of you who maybe have like baby nephews or baby nieces, or you have like a family friend with like tiny kids, it's like that. You don't take them seriously. If they cry at you, if they throw a mini tantrum, you might say, oh, calm down, don't cry. But you wouldn't take them seriously because you know it's not your fault. If they cry, that's them being a baby. That's what babies do. It's not on you. It's on them. They're being babies. They're being childish. And so if you approach all of your interactions like that, just have this laid back, amused mastery where you know you're in control of the situation and you know that they are just a child. Yeah, you're not literally talking to a child. You're not going to go goo goo gaga baby talk every time you talk to a girl or something. That would be a bit unhinged. But if you take that mentality, that mindset of, yeah, you know what, they're just a child. Let's have a bit of fun. And everything just becomes a lot more fun. You just start messing with people. You just start having fun. Life gets a lot easier when you view things like that. Okay, with that said, it's now 10:47 a.m. in my time. I haven't had a single damn thing to eat. I'm starving. So before I go, I'm going to do a quick plug. My YouTube channel is Spear QA. So if you in YouTube, it's not a big channel yet. So if you Google search it, you might not find it. But in YouTube, if you just search Spear QA, you'll be able to find me. And then once I finish recording this and upload it, I'll chuck a link for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, go sub right now and turn on notifications. So when that gets uploaded, you can go watch it. I'm gonna invite you want to invite like a person or two to speak? Because I kind of
I'm hungry.
You want to go?
I've been talking for 2 hours now.
Oh,
all right, I'm gonna call it a day here. That's it from me today. Enjoy yourselves. Done.
All right, you too, bro.